Hey guys, welcome back to the Unleashed podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger, and today I want to talk to you about how you don't have to figure it out or have it all figured out to get started. In fact, I'm titling this, You Don't Have to Have It All Figured Out to Get Started. I don't know if that resonates with you, but I know there's many people that feel like they have to have it all planned out exactly before they'll take one step. And I want to tell you today, stop it. Don't do that. You're never going to have the whole plan. When you're following God, he typically does not show you everything and then tell you to go. And I'm going to share some scriptures with you and some stories today, hopefully that will bless you. But I know some of you are listening, you've got something on your heart. You know God has called you to do something, and you don't know exactly how to step out. You don't know exactly what's next. You don't have it all figured out, and it can create some anxiety because you're like, man, I've got to know the whole picture before I'll take action. And I'm telling you, you don't do that. With action comes clarity. I've been saying that for years because it's so true. As you start to take steps, the things start to open up. I imagine this like we're in a dark room and we have a cell phone flashlight and that's all. And it's like we're trying to figure out where are we, what's next. All you can see is kind of like right in front of you. And just by faith, you're taking that next step and God is revealing more and more to you. And ideas come and opportunities come and you'll start to see a door over there and you start, knocking on it and open it up and see what's behind it. But it doesn't happen unless you are moving, unless you're stepping out, unless you're taking some action. If you just stand still, you'll stand still and just be there, and you'll never get to where God has called you to be. You've got to take action. So today is my encouragement for you, especially if you're the planning type and you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to have it all figured out. I have to have it all planned out before I'll take one step. I'm telling you, you don't. You need to find the courage to take one step. And I want to tell you what that might be today, because I know there's a lot of you that are like, you have some big things on your heart, but they're so big that you don't even know what the next step is. And so maybe, I mean, honestly, some of you might be like, God's got you in a time where that is for later, and there is definitely something to God's timing. We don't want to get out ahead of God, but also if there are certain things that you can do to get clarity now, do it. Don't just sit around waiting, and we don't want God to be waiting on us in those dreams that He's placed on our heart. So. I want to just tell you, like, just from personal experience, how this has worked for me, and hopefully it'll be a blessing to you. But when we were creating the Legends group back in 2016, and we had a webinar, it was a webinar at the very end of the year in December of 2016. I had an idea, and it was a God idea. I know it now. Of partnering with a gentleman who helped me create the group, and he had an idea for creating or for finding Amazon sources of inventory. And it was a unique way that I've never heard before. So I thought my audience needs to know about this. I just instinctively knew it was going to be something that they would be interested in. So we did a webinar, and it was a paid webinar. But I haven't done one of those in a very long time. But the typically you do a free webinar and have an offer at the end. But we charged, I think, $27 for it, and it went really, really well. We made several $1,000s just on the webinar. But as it was going and people were engaging, we asked a question in the middle of it and said, we were doing market research, essentially getting paid to do market research. We said, if we created a group like this and we mentioned this and this and this, would you be interested? And it was just yes, 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 yes in the comments, like, we'd love to be a part of that. So we launched the Legends group, and it ended up being just a 3-month mentorship program at the time. And then we're at the end of 3 months, you could sign up again for another 3 months, and eventually we just went to a monthly recurring and had an annual plan. But all to say is, we did not have all of this mapped out or figured out. We didn't even know if we were going to do the group. We knew we were going to do the webinar, knew people were signing up, and there was some already good signs there that people were signing up and paying for the webinar, but we had no idea what the group would look like. And so as we launched Legends and that grew and grew and had people around us, we were able to stay in touch with that community. They told us what they needed. And so new business ideas, new programs, new courses, new content came from having that community and just listening to them. And so that's a big part of this, is just find the people you feel called to serve and get in touch with them and talk to them and learn from them. But we didn't have it all figured out. We just knew what that next step was, and we kind of floated it out there. If we were going to do a group like this, would you be interested in? It was perfect market research. I mean, like I didn't have this all planned out, but that's just why it was such a God thing. I didn't know necessarily know what I was doing at the time. It was just I had an audience. I knew they would enjoy this content, and I had an idea that I think that it could become something bigger. And who would want to join us in this group if we had a group like this? And it was fantastic. And it was the most successful thing I've done ever done in business up to that point. And so, um, and when I felt called 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago now, to sell the group, I sold it in May of 2023, but felt like starting in like, middle of 2022, like, yeah, I'm just not sensing it anymore. I feel like God is asking me to move away from e-commerce and do something different. Guys, I had no idea what the next step was. I had no idea. I mean, I had some things brewing in my heart. I had just ideas, but they were just ideas, and I felt very much I knew the Lord wanted me to sell that Legends group and move on and do something else. And so in May of 2023, we got that done and then began a 2 year, almost 2 years now, of just like, hey, God, I did it. What's next? What do you want me to do? And it's been definitely up and down. Felt like just not knowing what the next step is, but constantly taking action, talking to people, just trying to figure this out. What are my next steps? What are you calling me to do? And then last year I had the idea of Unleashed. And I heard him tell me, unleash my people. And am now just gaining clarity on what that means. And every day getting more excited and more clarity about this. We have a group called Unleashed. You're welcome to check it out. It's only $27 a month. It's ridiculously low. And we have a call every Thursday night. It's more, it's honestly feels like we have a church service every Thursday night just because of how encouraging it is. And people are starting new things and launching into what God's called them to do. But as I'm around those folks, I'm getting clarity on my own thing and what he's calling me into and what I feel like I'm supposed to do. I'm figuring it out as I take action. I know who I want to serve. I know ways I can serve them, but the story hasn't been completely written yet. We're just meeting weekly. We're figuring this out. They're actually helping me co-create this whole thing. They're helping me gain clarity in what God's called me to do. I know that I'm right in the place that he wants me right now, and so I rest in that. But as far as what this becomes, I don't know exactly. I have ideas, I have big dreams of what it could be. And I'm taking small steps every day, letting people know about it, and more stuff is becoming clear as I take action. When somebody said on our call, I think it was last week, that I'm a dream doula, a doula like a midwife who helps somebody who's having a woman giving birth, and it's I help people birth their dreams. I don't think I'm going to start using that term, being a man, but that is pretty accurate. How I feel like what I'm called to do, at least in this season, and maybe for the rest of my life, is help birth those dreams that are in people's hearts. Because the thing that really grabs me and that really gets me excited is when I'm talking to somebody and they're telling me about those big dreams and goals on their heart. And it's just that for them. They're just big dreams and goals and they don't even know what to do. They're not sure how to make it happen. They're not even sure necessarily maybe if that's for them, but that's the kind of the things that they've been thinking about, praying about, the things that it constantly come back to them, and they just are stuck. They don't know what to do next. They think maybe now's not the right time, or they have imposter syndrome and think, who am I to do that? Why would God choose me to do that? That seems too big. Or who am I to do this? They just, for a number of reasons, people get stuck. And I can identify with that because it happens to me too. And so, one of the things about what I feel called to do is just helping them realize that, yeah, that is. I mean, just helping them think through and pray through and encourage them and help them dream again. And like also, I feel like I give people, feet to those dreams and an action plan, a toolkit. And that's much of what I'm doing is, saying, yes, that dream, I love it. you can totally do this. So they walk away encouraged. They're on fire, like, yeah, I can do it. And they feel like, they totally believe they can. And I'm encouraged because I encourage them. And so that's how like you're doing something that you're called to do. When you walk away from those conversations, you walk away from that thing, you're like, that was awesome. But I didn't have it all figured out, and I still don't. But I'm just taking action. I'm finding those people that fit that are like that person who they feel stuck, or they just need encouragement, and they want somebody to come alongside them and help them birth that dream. That's what I feel like I'm doing, and what this group is doing that we have. So if that fits you, go to everybelieverunleashed.com, everybelieverunleashed.com, and check that out. Be happy to come alongside you, help you take action on the dreams that you feel God's calling you to. And you just need a team of people, a group of people to love you, support you. And you need tools and resources and practical steps on how to take action into that. This group is for you. But what I was telling somebody recently who was just struggling with, what am I supposed to do? These are the things on my heart. These are the things, this is the message that's on my heart. These are the things that I've gone through, that the Lord has delivered me from, the things the bad things in my life that has happened that I feel called to help people through. And they don't know exactly what it looks like. Is it a book? Is it a podcast? She's actually going to start a podcast, by the way. But what is it? What does it look like? And I'm like, you don't have to have that all figured out. You don't even have to know. I was telling her, like, here's what it could be. Here's some options based on what you're telling me. Here's some business models or ministry models that this could end up being like. But I said, don't stress or fret over that. Told her, just go find the people that you feel called to serve. And this is a message for you too. If you are stuck in any way, you're not sure, it's so easy to get bogged down and think, oh my gosh, I've got to build an email list, and I've got to be on YouTube, and I've got to start a podcast, and I've got to start a blog, and I've got to have a website, and I've got to post clips on social media. How am I going to get this message out? I'm new at this. I've never done anything like this. Maybe you're not techie and you're like, I don't know how in the world I'm ever going to do this. This is going to take forever, and I'm never going to do what God's called me to do because I just feel so stuck. Maybe you get overwhelmed and you just do nothing because you just feel like it's so overwhelming. Well, want to help you, number one. But to you and to this person, I just said, find the people. Who are the folks that are on your heart? Who's that person that you feel like you're called to serve? Who's the person you feel like you can help? Just go find those people. Find that person, wherever they are, online or offline, and just serve them. Listen to them. Go have coffee with somebody that you feel like, yeah, this person is somebody I can help, or this is the type of person I feel called to serve. If maybe it's a group of people, maybe for example, if you feel called to help women overcome something, talk to a women's pastor at your church or wherever those types of women hang out. Go get involved in that group. Start meeting people. Have conversations with people. As you do that, here's what's going to happen. You're going to gain clarity because let's say you have coffee with somebody that you feel like, that you really can help. Maybe it's somebody that's gone through something that you've gone through. Let's say, for example, you feel called to help people through grief. You've gone through grief yourself. You've overcome it. God's got you on the other side of it. Maybe he's restored a marriage. Maybe you had a spouse that passed away and it was a really hard time. And now you're over that and you really feel called and you have empathy for people who are in that position right now. And you know that you can help them, that God's called you to help them. Well, find those folks, get with them, just sit and listen, have coffee, have lunch with them. Because here's what will happen. You will have conversations. The Lord will give you things to say to them. Your story will encourage them. They'll walk away from that time encouraged and be like, yeah, I needed this. Thank you. And you're going to be encouraged because it's like, it'll give you confidence because like, wow, I helped that person. And all I did was I told them my story and I was just available. And the Lord spoke through me. And it was, it was his words and not my words. And that person was genuinely helped because of what I did, because of just saying yes to God and being available. So it's going to give you encouragement. You're going to be all fired up and like, I want to do that again. I want to find another person that can help. And that's how it starts. And you're like, okay, I can do this. Like, I'm equipped, and you don't have to know everything, but now just go find more people that you can serve. And that could end up being like one-on-one coaching. It could be you have a group of people whether you teach on Zoom how to go through grief and how to get over it, but your confidence will constantly get, you know, bigger and bigger as you constantly do it. And clarity will come, and you'll see opportunities, and you'll see like how you can turn this into an income that you can actually live off of. But it happens when you take action. I want to share with you Hebrews 11:8, and this is about Abraham. And this is in the Amplified Version. Urged on by faith, Abraham, when he was called, obeyed and went forth to a place which he was destined to receive as an inheritance, and he went, although he did not know or trouble his mind about where he was to go. So God told Abraham to go, and he had no idea where he was going to go. He just left. And he went and he obeyed God and didn't have it all figured out. And so you don't have to have it all figured out. Abraham didn't have the full plan. God just told him to go. The key is just take the next right step and clarity will come. Taking action brings clarity. Psalm 37:23 in the New Living Translation says, "The Lord directs the steps of the godly. He delights in every detail of their lives." God directs our steps, but he cannot steer a parked car or a ship analogy. He cannot, steer or move the rudder of a ship that's not moving. You've got to be moving. You got to be taking action. And just, you don't have to take, huge action, but you can just be step by step. Like, what's the next thing that I can do? Who can I talk to about this? Who can I get in front of? Can I take a course about this topic? Just start getting curious, start going that direction, and God will guide you. He'll bring people across your path, He'll bring opportunities across your path, He'll give you ideas. As you serve and you listen, you'll get more clarity on what God is shaping. Um, I really feel like that one of the things in another example in the Bible is the parable of the talents. Start with what you have. Matthew 25:14 through 30 talks about this. It was the servants who took action that with what they had that they were rewarded, while the one who buried his talent out of fear was rebuked. God gives us gifts, dreams, and opportunities, but he expects us to do something with them. You can't just bury your talent in the ground. God expects you to do something with it. And what that is, I don't know exactly, but I can, I feel like one of the things I can do is I can get with people one on one and help them. And I'm actually right now trying to figure out, okay, that's not scalable. Talking to each and every person that comes to me about their dream. I love that. That's so fun. So fun for me, but it's not scalable. It's not something I can do to the masses. So how do I take that and turn that into some type of framework that I could help people in like an online course? And what would an online course look like that take people through this path, through this process of getting their dreams birthed into reality? In fact, I'm on our Unleash call. I think this week I'm going to just put myself on the hot seat and ask people to give me some advice on how to do this because I want to help more people. And I can't help every single person one on one. I want to. I love those conversations. I walk away from those conversations energized. So fun for me. In fact, I have vision calls that I'll send you, I'll put a link in the show notes if you want to sign up for one of those. I do those. I mean, they're paid things, but I have to be able to do that because otherwise my calendar be full of just these one-on-one meetings and I can't do it all the time. But how can I do it for the masses at a low cost? And I'm trying to figure that out right now. But I'm, just taking action and talking about it, asking the people who would be my ideal audience, what would it look like to have some type of course? And so just get around the people. Just start with what you have. If you wait until you have it all figured out, you'll never start. The ones who used what they have in the parable of the talents were given even more. And it's okay to co-create with the people who you're talking to. Like, just say, "Hey, this is what's on my heart. This is what I feel like I want to do," and just co-create that with them. Launch that with them. That's what we're doing in the Unleash group. We have about 40 people in there, and about 15 to 20 that show up on every call, where we're literally figuring this out together. We're just having a great time, and people are getting blessed and encouraged. But I don't know exactly what it's all going to turn into. But we're having fun and we're taking action and we're praying about what is next. God, what do you want us to do with this group? How can we unleash more people? That's my heart. So I would just tell you and make this very, wrap this up like a bow here. Before I do that, let me tell you this. Ecclesiastes 11:4. This is in the New Living Translation as well. It says, "Farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant, If they watch every cloud, they never harvest. Guys, there's never going to be a perfect time. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be an excuse. You can always say, well, it's not the right time for me. I'm too busy or whatever reason. It's easy to come up with excuses because we're all busy. There's plenty of reasons why you can't start now if you focus on that, but there's plenty of reasons why you should start now. Just start taking action. Figure it out as you go. If you wait until you have all the details, you'll never step out. The harvest comes to those who plant seeds now, not those who wait for the perfect conditions, because there never will be perfect conditions. So what does this mean to you? If this resonates at all with you, like it did with our group when I shared this message, they were like, yes, definitely. Many of them were like, this is me. I need to step out. I need to take some action. I'm stuck. I'm too comfortable. I'm too comfortable in my job, or I just for whatever reason haven't taken action and I need to. Let me just tell you this. Here's some of the things that you can think about that will just make it easy. And it's what we mentioned earlier. It's just who do you feel called to serve? Who's that person that you have a burden for? And honestly, it's probably you before you overcame something. It's probably you 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever major thing in your life you've overcome, you've gone through, God's brought you through, God's restored, whatever that is for you, is probably you helping somebody that was like you before the change. Okay. Just find those people. What needs do they have? Just sit and listen to them because this is your audience, your ideal audience, potentially your ideal audience. And you're learning that too. Is this the type of person I want to serve? As you're talking with folks, you're like, do I enjoy the one-on-one interaction? Or would this be way better in a group? Would I enjoy getting on a Zoom call? What kind of business or ministry do I want to have? Do I want to be doing a bunch of one-on-one Zoom calls, or do I only want to spend few hours a week on this thing, and I want to have one Zoom call a week with everybody because I don't want to be on a bunch of Zoom calls because I can't because I'm have other things. I'm a grandma, grandpa, and I have always have my always have my grandkids with me all the time. Whatever. Build your business around your life. Don't build something that you're like, oh my gosh, now I just created myself a job. So you're kind of figuring that out as well. Like, what does this look like? What's the best way for me to serve them? What's the best mechanism? And these are things that I can help with. Happy to help you with. If you need some clarity on the types of ways that you can serve the audience that you have, but just get in front of those people, listen to them, and then just figure out how can I serve them this week. Go into Facebook groups and look for the people that you need to serve. If, like, use the grief example we talked about earlier, find a grief Facebook group and join it and just look around, and it's like, is this my people? Are my people here? Start being encouraging, and maybe you'll start getting private messages. And just as you have conversations, you're going to learn stuff. You're going to learn stuff about your audience. You're going to learn stuff about you. You're going to learn best about, like, what's the best way for me to interact with them? What type of service product, what type of mechanism can I create to serve them the best way that I can, that also creates income? And so, I'd love to help you think through that. Join our Unleashed group, everybelieverunleashed.com. These are the types of things that we talk about. But I hope that encouraged you. I just know what I'm called to do. And right now, it's to help birth those dreams that God's called you to do. And I want to help you get unstuck. And if I can do that, oh my gosh, what an honor. So email me, ryan@ryanrieger.com. I want to help you get unstuck and moving in to what God's called you to do. I feel like I have an activating mission to activate you into that plan, into that call. To It's almost like I feel like a nice drill sergeant, like, or a commander, where it's like, okay, I've got people under me that I'm sending out into the battlefield. And whatever your battlefield looks like, it's going to be completely different, but also giving you the sword and the shield and all the tools that you need to be successful. That's what we do. In practical terms, that looks like, helping you decide, is it a podcast? Is it a YouTube channel? Is it both? Is it a blog? Do you need help with a website? Do you need help with, a virtual assistant to help you with various tasks? Whatever that practical stuff is, you're going to have to get your message out somehow. So that's one of the things I am good at as well, is just helping people think through that message and how to get it out there. So I'd be honored to serve you. Ryan at ryanrieger.com. Email me. Join our Unleashed group, everybelieverunleashed.com. While it's still crazy cheap. And I'd be honored to help you launch into your calling, activate the thing that God's called you to do. And I just, again, thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this with me. And I love you and praying blessings over you this week. And I'll see you in the next episode.